Sharon from Little Bell Lane Creations, and welcome to the My Garden Quilt and the My Garden Quilt Sew-Along Week 1 introductory post. So what are we doing on this sew-along? We are making the My Garden Quilt. So the My Garden Quilt has this creative card pattern available. So it's an A5 double-sided card pattern. And on the back, it gives you the fabric requirements for 3 sizes. So we have the 24 block version, 35 block version, and the 48 block version. During the course of the quilt-along, I am making the 48 block version, which means I need to make at a minimum at least 4 blocks per week to keep on track to finish at the end of the sew-along. What you do is purely up to you. That's what I'm doing. If you can only do 1 or 2, we're coming into Christmas. We all have different social activities, social gatherings, different social life stresses, where for me personally, we're coming up to the first anniversary passing of my dear mum on the 23rd of December. So I don't know what sort of mental state I'm going to be from now leading up to her passing and Christmas, etc. So this is something that I'm just going to be plugging away with, playing. In those moments where I just need to turn off from the world, I'll put on a podcast or something and I'm just going to sit and sew. My aim is 4 blocks a week. If I get that done, all good and well. If I don't, well, I'll catch up another week. So back on track, Sharon. The creative card pattern, buy it at your favourite Little Bell Lane stockist or your local quilt shop. It comes with a template which has a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. The cutting instructions inside this for strip cutting with that template provided. So it's the strip cutting for instructions for your background fabrics, for your linens and your blocks. It tells you how many of each unit you need to make. Very brief. This pattern does assume you know the basics of English paper piecing, but hey, if you're sewing along and you get stuck on something, leave a message on one of my posts or jump up here on YouTube and take a look at my Back to Basics series. I'm sure the answers to any questions you have will be answered then. God, tongue-tied. Okay, so you've got this. What do we need next? We need the linens. Each block of this quilt has an embroidered centres. Where are we getting that embroidered centre from? We're getting it from the pre-printed linens. So I have 2 volumes available, volume 1 and volume 2. Each has 25 different embroidery designs. So we have a total of 50 in total. If you're making the smaller version of the quilt, you only need to grab one or the other, or you can grab both and have some left over for another project. It's up to you. I'm doing the 48 block version, so I've got both and I'll have a couple left over. Now, they're available in white. If you look down the bottom of the packaging, we've got white, or they're also available in birch. So birch works well with Tilda. It works well with French General. It's purely up to you, or you could do a mix of both and go totally scrappy. So this is what the birch looks like. That's volume 1. Volume 2, so like I said, it's a total of 50 different designs. And there's the white, so that's volume 2, volume 1. Now my centres that you're seeing here were traced a light box because I didn't have my linen when I made these blocks, but my linen sample did arrive last week and I've started stitching it up the last couple of nights. So what I want you to do is grab your threads, treat it like a box of crayons and just start colouring and playing. Don't overthink it too much. In with your linens in your packaging, you will get a pre-printed linen embroidery stitch guide. So it gives you the basics on how to prepare this ready for stitching and the basic stitches that I'm using to embroider my hexagons. I'm not using anything elaborate. I'm keeping it super simple and easy for the reasons I said at the start of the post. It's coming to a stressful time of the year, everybody, for many different reasons. So this is where I'm at. When I've done this, I can then go and cut along the blue lines, and each hexagon has the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance added into it. So you just cut them out, base them as per any normal EPP hexagon, and add them into your project. So like I said, I've made 9 blocks. So I had photos for my covers. I've not gone beyond my 9 blocks. I have 3 blocks sewn together here. So if we have a quick look, my first block, I've coordinated, you know, I've tied in fabrics that you don't have to. My second block, I've gone for a kind of like lavender theme in the center with my bee. My third block, I've got lovely teal, another with a bee again. So you can sit down and you can coordinate your embroideries for the fabrics that you're using, or you can just throw them at random. So these are the ones I started with. These are my first 9 blocks. And like I said, that's what I'm kicking off week 1 with. So there you go. Now, I want to quickly cover something. I am going to be stitching my project together as this sew along goes. I don't want to get to the end of the project, have 48 of these, and then have to sit down and do the boring bit of repetitively sewing these units and then sewing my quilt together. That's when I tend to lose interest, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. So let's look at the back of this. When you are sewing your project together, you do not need to leave your papers in. You only need papers in the outermost edge of your work. You can see here, only on the outermost edge of your work. This will reduce weight on your hand sewn seams and will also make it super easy to scrunch up when you're adding in your next piece. So you can see here, this one here, still, just for purpose of this video, has all the papers in. This one here is what my blocks will be. I've taken out all the papers from the centres, the embroidery centre and the first ring around, and left those. And then these papers that have come out can be used in future blocks. So not only am I saving money by not needing to buy any more papers, I'm reusing them. So the papers can be reused as many times until you accidentally rip them, or in my case, a pug finds them and runs off with them and slobbers all over them. Just reuse your papers. So when it comes to sewing them together, like I said, if this one was going here, we fold it over, we get ready to sew it in. I can grip, screw it all up in my hand, move it around. I'm not dealing with a big bulky piece. Okay, that's the basics. I'll quickly cover what fabrics I'm using. I'm using Liberty fabrics. I don't have a big enough stash for my 48 blocks. So you'll see that I posted stash enhancements to my Instagram feed Friday morning. So these are 3 Liberty prints that I picked up from a shop in Melbourne. And I've momentarily teamed them with some Liberty Bell cottons. This may be how they appear on my quilt, depending on how long they stay on my cutting table. I may swap them out with something else. So I'm using Liberty fabrics on the outside. The inside, I'm using this Liberty print, which the name is going to elude me at the moment. Not important. I'm also using these Liberty Bell cottons. So I've got cotton fabrics, I've got Tanya Lawn fabrics, I've chosen to use a low volume Chula Pink print. So this is from her Tiny Dots and Tiny Spots range. It's the off-white cream with the neon pink spot, and I'm also mixing in with the linen. So as well as making a quilt, I'm playing with texture at the same time. So week 1, these are my 9 blocks. I'm looking forward to sewing along with you. Every Sunday starting the 19th of November, I will post my weekly blocks. These will be my first 9. And my aim, like I said, 4 blocks a week after that. Please, if you're coming along to stitch with us, tag me on Instagram, join our Facebook group. Let's have some fun. Thanks.